JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Wednesday, November 12th, 9/19. Really quick rant talk about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from the S&P futures in the green here this morning, up about third of a percent. Nasdaq's up 0.5%, all on the heels of yesterday's mixed session. So the markets were gapping lower at the open yesterday. S&P reverse course. So the bottom around noon hour, and then at the time the Dow was actually rallying. So you had Merck and Nike and Amgen all leading the Dow higher. Dow's kind of like a meaningless index, but nonetheless. But then the S&P went red to green into the afternoon. The Nasdaq, I guess if the markets were open another half hour, so that would have went green. And another situation or setup similar to Friday, where if the bears really wanted to play this AI bubble scenario, could have really started that and maybe instilled some fear into the market. Instead, magical hand came in, buyers came in, and here we are today. So Palantir, NVIDIA leading the charge. Yesterday, you had the AMD CEO Lisa Su. I always think of Lisa Liu from the Grinch. Sorry, I don't know why I think that, but they had their analyst day, investor day yesterday. She talked about 1 trillion total addressable market for AMD, $100 billion opportunity for their chips. It's all bullish stuff, and this is just continues the trend of all these CEOs of major companies. I certainly am not. I'm not privy to all this information that they have in regards to the customers' demand and all that stuff. So all you know is the headlines and research and filings, right? So I'm not gonna sit here and dismiss it. But Michael Burry is doing that. So anyway, so last week you had the Michael Burry, the Big Short fame not announcing, coming out with this 13F filing, 5 million put contracts on Palantir, 1 million on NVIDIA, and then you still have it this week. And even last night he was posting something. Yesterday afternoon, it was about the depreciation of some of their infrastructure, some of the CapEx spend. So normally, I guess their cycle was 3 years. Now they're pushing out to 5, 6, 7 years in regards to depreciation. It sounds like that's like all flying under the radar. Back when Enron did all its crazy shenanigans, some of that stuff was under the radar, right? These names are so looked at now. I mean, it's hard to think that they're committing fraud right under the guise of the overall market. But that's what kind of stuff he's hinting at. We'll see. At some point, we'll have some pull, right? I'm not going to sit here and try and fight it. Take a look at the SPY. Oh, actually, economic data. So government shutdown could be finished as soon as this afternoon. Probably not. Probably tomorrow. Nice little slide here. I don't know where I got this from, but Morgan Stanley coming out with some of the dates using the 2013 shutdown as kind of a guideline. It's showing the dates that some of the data came out after that shutdown. So the jobs report came out 3 days after the government shutdown was ended back in 2013. You probably have to think we're not going to get that information until next week, maybe next Thursday, Friday. CPI data, probably not for another month. So nice little chart there. So maybe I'll help give some color to all these folks trying to speculate on when we do get some data. But overall markets, funny enough, my trend lines, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Came right down that 679 handle yesterday and bounced. Certainly be watching that today. I mean, we're at 685 here. I talked about being resistant, so I don't know how much further we can go. Maybe we do. I don't know. But certainly watching that too. And then if we do get some crazy shenanigans, you can't rule out some crazy pull at some point. 673 is kind of like my line in the sand, and I'll be aggressive on the put side. Funny enough, yesterday was like some sectors took the baton from the market, and biotech, the IBB was up 3% yesterday. And the amount of stocks trading over their 50-day moving average starting to go the other direction. So that whole argument about market bad breath, hey, maybe someone gave them an Altoid and some gum and solved that. But all right, so joking aside, let's get to quick on just some individual names. Yesterday's not a day. I've been aggressive actually last week, heading into this week. Lots of trades. Yesterday was one of those trades, locked some stuff in and they had some positions. First Align Technologies, talked about it yesterday morning on the watch list and the rant. Just a name that I think could have some upside, especially after its earnings moved to 150. It's kind of just pulled back. It's a name that I think there's some folks who just don't believe in the story, so I think creates opportunity. Nice little move yesterday. It was 138, 139 when I got those strikes. I was looking at weeklies, and I went to next week's, and then within an hour, able to close them out for close to 100%. Then in the afternoon, it kind of found, I guess it got a little lackluster in the afternoon. Didn't want to see the premiums come out, lock some more of the calls out for 100%. I held the rest. If it gets over 145 and holds today, I might look for some other strikes, 155s, just because they're inexpensive now. If it goes on another 3-4% rally today or tomorrow, those premiums are going to be a heck of a lot more expensive. Not gonna chase that, right? So thought process there. If it breaks down today, 142, that could be a spot. The thing, yesterday's move, no news, no catalyst. So I don't know if it's just because the other sectors are rallying. Don't want to be in a spot where I lose that. So if it does find weakness today, 142, I'll lock those out. And then Reddit. Yesterday morning at this time, it was 201. I think it was 200 overnight. And then after the bell, despite the market weakness, boom, off to the races, 206, 207. Then got over its Monday 208 handle. Once it broke that, got up to 211, locked some more of my 220, 250s for 300%, and I just held the rest. Still have those strikes into next week. If I get a chance to lock some of those in to cover costs, I will. It's over here at 210 in the pre-market. Maybe one of these days going to have a 6% rally or 6 to 10 to 7 to 8 to 10, who knows? And then I keep talking about that possibility of some renewed deal with whether it be OpenAI, Anthropic, or something. It's going to happen, whether it's this year, this week, next month. And when it does, stocks are going to go bonkers. All right, so that's Reddit. Then other names, SolarEdge only down. I say only, it's up 50% from its earnings last week. Just pretty much consolidation yesterday, down 1.5%. Still holding plenty of profits and freebie strikes, so I'll just continue to hold those. Put on a watch list. If there's weakness, it gets under 42. I'll probably close all the shorter dated strikes out, the November 21st to 28th, and then just hold the January strikes with some FOMO. Lemonade's over $80 here in the pre-market. So volatile, all the way down to 74 yesterday, and then reverse course and closed green for the third session in a row, or second session in a row. Could call this a bull flag here setting up. So another consolidation day today. If it doesn't break out, you could say, hey, it's going to head to $90 in the coming days. So I'll lock my November 21st 90s at some point. I don't know if it'll be today or tomorrow, and then just ride the higher strikes. And then today's the big day. SERV Robotics reports earnings after the close. If you remember back in August, their earnings, I don't know if you were watching. I watched, right? Their earnings didn't even come out, and it wasn't even on their investor relations site. And the bears took it from 1050 down to 850. No news, no earnings, no revenues, any of that stuff. So to me, it's like one of those names. These bears just trying to induce the sellers and create this fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Then a reverse course, an intraday in the market went to flat, still closed red. The thing is still you can almost categorize it as a pre-revenue story because of that creates room for these bears to pressure the name. So as much as I think this is a 20 plus stock into the end of the year, I still got to be open to the possibility that, hey, the bears are still in control. If that's the case, I'll save ammo for tomorrow. I had those December strikes. If I get a chance to close them out to cover costs later today, I will. Otherwise, I'll just hold those, and I still have later dated strikes on calls I added in September. And that's it. I'm trying to think of some of the other names here. VKTX is gapping up 42.37 here. That whole GLP-1 space, it seems like after obesity week and this buyout M&A situation that was going on, this bidding war, it's kind of like put a spark back in it. And then you had the POTUS press conference with NBO and LOY talking about reducing the drug prices on GLP-1. LOY is over $1,000 here in the pre-market, but you take a look at VKTX, filled the gap here this morning. I still have the 55s. Those are flat. They'll probably be solidly green at the open. One probability is I might just hold those, or the other possibility is lock those in and go later higher strikes just in case there's some FOMO. And that's it, folks. Have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.